Hello, good morning, good evening, and just good day. Where are you sitting in the world? Welcome to the 2022 Optimist European Championship, and this is the official broadcast, the highlight show of what happened today. My name is Thomas Bjørnlytti, and I'm going to guide you through what's going to happen today. But instead of having me talking about all the hard conditions the sailors experienced yesterday and what they're thinking they're going to experience today, then let's jump to the harbor and meet some of the sailors.
My name is James Gunnell and I'm from Bermuda. It's pretty crazy because it's my first one and we're going from a really hot country all the way to like a colder country. Well, colder for us I guess, but not for some other countries. My first race I feel like went good but there's a lot of current like around the top mark and the finish. So it kept like straying me off course and my starts weren't that good. I had to like constantly like try to come back from behind and I feel like I managed to do that decently well. I ended up somewhere in the middle, both races. My second race, I had a terrible start, but on my second upwind, I managed to gain 20 boats right at the end. So it was really nice because I got a huge left shift. Oh yeah, there's a lot of shifts, a lot of gusts. It's like, in Denmark, it's like so gusty because it can go from like 9 knots all up to like 15, 16, just in like a snap.
My name's Emily Lung. I come from Canada. Trying to compete with all the other countries and trying to see what my skill level is compared to them, how fast I'm going, and yeah. So here it's on the lake, it's not very consistent. So the wind here yesterday, it was around 15 knots and it was pretty consistent with a bit of chop. And yeah, it just kept coming. It was pretty shifty, but on the lake, it's pretty flat and there's not much wind. For me, yeah, because I tend to have pretty good speed in light wind and flat water compared to yesterday. But yesterday I felt that my speed wasn't very good. So hopefully today I can get more gains.
"42 nations, 243 sailors, divided into 5 groups, 3 boys group and 2 of the girls group. It is the European Championship, but a lot of sailors from outside of Europe is also participating because it's an open event. But one thing that is different from other events is at the European Championship, the genders race for themselves, so girls races against girls, boys races against boys. But we need to know a little bit more about which type of boat they're sailing in. They're sailing in the Optimist, so who else to explain us than one of the girls from the Netherlands team.
I'm Jules, I'm from the Netherlands. I sail on an Optimist and I'm now in Denmark, Sonderborg. And sailboat, like an Optimist, you don't just like press the pedal and then it goes forward. You need to actually have wind and you need to have speed to come forward on the water. But to get that speed, you need to have some things right. So you have these sail ties over here. And for light winds and strong winds, you have a different trim for them. In Optimist, you can sail different ways, and 2 of the most important ones are upwind and downwind. And when you go upwind, you have your sail, well, probably like this. You grab your main sheet and your joystick. Your sword, your daggerboard is obviously in the daggerboard case, because the daggerboard makes sure that when you move with your rudder, your boat goes the way you want it. You have your boom, this is the boom, on the edge of your boat, and you sit probably here, and when there are strong winds you hike out, and when it's light winds you can sit more in your boat or on the edge. In the downwind, your daggerboard, you put your daggerboard a bit up, because in the downwind you don't really need your daggerboard, so you have more speed. You have your boom out like 90 degrees compared to your boat, and you, with strong winds, you sit a little bit to the back and out, so you can feel the boat and get control of it. And when there are light winds, you sit more in the front and you try to keep your boat stable. And you're in a downwind. You're obviously just sailing this way, but if you want to go that way, then you need to jibe. And a jibe means that you're not going through the wind like a tack, but with the jibe you go with the wind. In the upwind, you can't just sail in the wind, because then your sail will be flapping and you can't just sail in the wind because you have no speed. So in the upwind, you sail like next to the wind, so you tack to make sure that you're going forward. In the upwind, so we're going now that way, but you want to go a bit more to the left because that's where the upwind mark is. So what you do, you push your rudder away from you, then your boat turns, and boom, you're tapped. So especially with light winds, you need to move really, really like almost like a ballerina in your boat, so your boat gets enough speed. So what you do is, you push it away. You wait until your sail comes over. And with light winds, you sit a little longer on this edge so you can like make a roll, and you get speed out of that. And then you get to the other side. You make one step, and then you move, and then you sit on the other side. And with a jibe, with strong winds, it's really important that your back foot, you put it in the corner, because otherwise your boat will capsize or you will get a lot of water in it. So it's really important that you set your back foot on the other side. And with a jibe, it's basically the same how you maneuver in the boat as tack. You just need to do it with strong winds a bit quicker, and with light winds also quite softly.
The Optimist class is the class for the youth. This class has been here for 17 years next year. The championships has been here for 60 years, also next year. And the Federation, IOTA, is 50 years old. So if you're looking out there and think, oh, this sounds interesting, Optimist is where your sailing adventure begins. So go to your local club and see and find out more of that. But enough about me and about Optimist. Let's go to the harbor yet again and hear about yesterday's racing and what to expect today.
I'm Tamar Bar and I'm from Israel. It's exciting. That's my first competition. It's very nervous, but it feels very comfortable that it just scares. To win.
My name is Tristan, Andreas, Ottman, and I'm from Hamburg, Germany. I think it's a very competitive race with not too many sailors. I think it's good because you have a good overview, and I like it because there's a lot of nations here and you get new international friends, and it's just a good event. I sail a lot in Kiel and in other nations and countries because I'm traveling a lot and sailing a lot in open seas. I think that I have to have a good start because I'm better in heavy wind, but I think it's not, there's so good wind today, so I think it will be not too hard to get good races. And I just think that to have free wind and a clear overview of the field and try to control everything will be the best key to go winning today.
In the sailing world, there's normally a huge focus on promoting all the big Olympic sports part of the sailing world. Also the SSL Gold Cup and also SailGP. But here you are at the European Championship of Optimist, and today it's all focused on that boat. We're going in to look at the results, overall results, how they are right now. So let's start with the boys. The way it works when you're sailing at an Optimist European Championship is that the first 3 days you aim to do 6 races in total. Today they've been doing 2 more races, that's 4 races in total. When you're winning a race, you get 1 point, second place 2 points, and so on. So you get the point of the position you have. The person with less points are winning the race, but after 6 races there will be a discard, removing your worst result you've been having in the whole campaign. Here we can see the boys' results right now. Right now it's from a sailor from Greece. There is in the lead with 8 points in total. He has been winning 3 of the 4 races. Great performance by him. Then we go to USA with 15 points. We go to Greece again with 18 points. And then we have a local Dane also with 19 points. But the interesting part is top 25, this is why we're showing that, is going into what we call the Gold Fleet. Gold Fleet starts on Thursday and Friday, and that's where we're going to decide who's going to be the European champion. And you can see this, the further we go down the list, this the closer the results goes. And then you will say, hey, this guy from Greece, hey, he's already won this event. No, if he has 1 bad race with 14 points or 2 bad races getting 20 or 30, then everything will shift very fast. So he needs to be very focused to keep his position. Let's go to the girls' results. One thing we are very amazed of here at the European Championship is 111 girls has come to the start. And right now you can see how close it is. Right now it's a girl from France in the lead with 16 points, Poland 24, and then we have from Germany 28 points. All these girls are fighting to go into the Gold Fleet, and you can see at the girls' side it's going to be a very, very tight racing, and also results who will go all the way to the Gold Fleet. And I know they will fight everything for it. A good example, if we go down to position 21, a girl from Malta. We met her yesterday. She won the 2 first races, but today the wind changes, the condition changes, and you can see 42 and 21, meaning she's getting a lot of points. Luckily for her, if she's not doing a better result, the 42 points will be discarded, and then she will go down in results and up the list after 6 races. So, all the sailors out there, all the boys and girls are really fighting for it. They dream to go to the Gold Fleet, but some of them are also just dreaming to be here, practice, be together with a lot of youth sailors, and at the same time being in this community of the Optimist. And we love it. But instead of having me talk about it, let's go to the harbor yet again and meet some of the sailors.
My name is Henrik Birkeland Vestby and I'm from Norway. It's quite fun. I've never been on a so big championship before. It's my place, it's a shifty place where I come from. I'm going to learn a lot, and I also want to go to the Gold Fleet. Yeah.
My full name is Fenak and I'm from Malta. It was very shifty, very nice wind. Conditions were great and difficult. There were some good sailors, and it was hard. For me, I like this wind. It's I think it's a bit easier for me, but also hard for the shifts. I need working more on the waves for this wind, and I need to see the gusts, where they're coming from and where they are. You need to be more careful, especially on the start, because in Malta the current's not very powerful, and here it's quite powerful. You need to be very careful because you'll get over the line or you'll be under the line. Sailing speed, fast, and good start, and have to be careful on the start.
We love this event. The city is proud of being here. And also today we had a special guest in the harbor, and tomorrow we will show who that was and also have an interview with the person. But we still have something more we need to talk about before going into today's sum up what happened on the water. We have one more interview with a sailor, but then we have an interview every day also with a team leader and a coach. And I have to say, after being at this event, I'm very pleased, but also very glad to hear all the great work the team leaders are doing and also the coaches are doing. And one of the coaches we are going to meet today, he's actually a former coach, but now he switched position into the team leader, and you will know more about that. Let's go to the harbor.
Edgar Diminich, team leader for Team USA. Well, it's a great experience for the kids, for the parents and the coaches. It's pretty far away, and it takes a couple of days to get here. But it's a beautiful place, beautiful venue. The whole town is prepared for us. Good food as well, so it's great. As a team leader, my job is to make sure that the whole team is in the same page. The boats are prepared, all the housekeeping duties from the team get done properly and on time, and just working together with the coach. Well, it takes a lot of effort to bring a whole team across the ocean, and I'm a coach myself, but as a team leader, I can understand better what the coaching aspects of is what it means being on a team and being on a high competitive level. So it's a great experience, but it's a bit different in terms of what you can do on the water. So I'd say I have more respect for team leaders overall.
My name is Tristan and I come from France. It's good. I'm happy to be here, yeah, and it's exciting. Yeah, it's a bit hard, but first I was sailing in the ocean, and then I sail in lake. So I have the two, but it's different in Thunderbird. I need to think that I can sail in all the conditions, and I can be strong in light wind and also a strong wind. So I'm happy.
It just warms my heart to hear a team leader or a former coach, he's still an active coach, telling about when he's switching position and tell about how much respect he has for the team leaders. But somebody you also need to have respect for down there is all the volunteers doing a great job. At the harbor there's a lot of volunteers from the local club, both doing a setup of the events. The juries is there also as volunteers, and also we have a lot of photographers doing a lot of volunteer work. They're taking a lot of photos. Yesterday they took 1,200 photos of the event. And tomorrow we will post, I think, maybe 500 more photos just so you can see what's happening here. But you need to go to the Facebook side. You need to go to 2022 Optimist European Championship Facebook to see it, or else go to IOTA's main page. It's called optiworlds.org, and in there you can find more information of everything. But now, everything you've been waiting for is coming now. Here is the sum up of today's races. The second day of the 2022 Optimist European Championship in Sønderborg, Denmark. The day started with sunny weather and light wind conditions. As some locals might say, a great summer day in Denmark. Wind started at 7 to 10 knots at the water from an angle of 160 degrees. But 3 p.m. the wind was shifty, and it also shifted to the right by 30 to 40 degrees and ended up in 200 degrees. Race 3, girls yellow group. In race 3, most of the fleet decided going port tack towards the right hand side at the start. A handful of boats going opposite. Yesterday the left hand side was the favorite side. Would that continue today? Approaching the top mark, the boats going left came first and with most speed. There was 30 meters in between the top 10 at the mark. Downwind towards the gate mark, it looked like the Croatian team found the win and rounded with 2 boats in the lead, followed by a Dane. Most of the fleet going left and the battle upwind towards the finish line started. It was a French girl, Justin Barbarin, winning a close fight over the Croatian girl, Emma Graba, with only 5 seconds. Race 4, Girls Yellow Group. After almost 2 hours of waiting, the girls in the yellow group were ready again to race. Wind has meanwhile become more shifty and also stronger. This gave another start of race 4, with most of the fleet heading towards the left-hand side and going 2/3 of the way to the ley line. First at the top mark, it was the French sailor Justin Barbarin, closely followed by a Swiss and a girl from Thailand. Downwind, it was a drag race for the 3 boats, but the French kept her lead. A huge tag battle between the 3 sailors started, and it was ending up with a victory for Prin Subai, Thailand. Race 3, Girls Blue Group. Race 3 had a similar start as in the yellow group, most of the fleet going port tack and heading towards the right hand side. But an early attack towards the middle of the race course paid out in the race towards the top mark. But a close race with top 15 within 30 meters of each other. Downwind, a French girl found the speed and started sailing away from the fleet with a lead of 44 meters when rounding the gate mark. Upwind towards the finish line, the fleet starting battling for positions in the middle of the race course. But the French girl kept her lead and won the race. Race 4, Girls Blue Group. Wind shifting and changing in strength made the starts very difficult. In race 4 there were a small bias on the left hand side of the starting line at the pin-end mark. The sailors noticed this and started going towards the left, but earlier today it was the best to go upwind in the middle of the race course. Very close racing with top 15 within 40 meters of each other at the top mark. Downwind, 2 Italians and a German girl seemed to found the speed of the boat, closely followed by a French sailor. The French girl chosen going to the left side at the gate and the leaders going to the right. This created a lead to the French girl of 50 meters towards the mark, and she ended up winning the race. Race 3, Boys Yellow Group. The condition on the water has changed, the wind strength was gaining and more wind shift made the racing condition harder. Most of the fleet, like the girls, started port tack and turned towards the right hand side, and the leaders at the top mark were the boats tacking first towards the middle of the race course. Again, a tight race with top 10 within 30 meters of each other. A Greek and a Swiss boat got downwind a gap to rest of the fleet and kept it when rounding the gate mark. They started their own private match race upwind towards the finish line. But they had to take care not to fight too much to let the other boats back in the lead. The Greek took the victory in the end. Race 4, Boys Yellow Group. Waiting time on the water had changed the condition for race 4. And the start showed this, where the fleet split in half, going both directions. Now the fight upwind has started, and also the fight for not getting covered behind the other boats, where a Spanish, a Greek and an Israeli boat was winning the upwind leg. Downwind, 6 boats came with speeds from behind and the leaderboard changed yet again. upwind towards the finish line, top 4 started tacking on top of each other. And it was the Greek, yet again, taking another victory of the day. Race 3, Boys Blue Group. A day with many false starts and black flags on the water. And the Boys Blue Group was one of the groups with a lot of infight at the start. Most of the fleet went port tack and turned to the right hand side. And yet again, it was the boat that was good in reading the wind shifts towards the middle of the race course that took the lead. A tight top mark rounding with a Spanish sailor and a Danish sailor in the lead with only 30 meters to number 10. Downwind, it looked like the rich was getting richer and the two sailors created a large gap to the rest of the fleet with 50 meters to the nearest boat. Upwind towards the finish line, they had a huge tack battle. But the Dane was too strong and covered up the Spanish sailor and took the win with 45 meters. Race 4, Boys Blue Group. A split start, shifty winds was the story of race 4. But it was a Danish and a boat from USA that analyzed the upwind leg the best and rounded the top mark with only 2 meters in between them, but with a huge gap to rest of the fleet. Downwind, they extended the lead but got company by a Lithuanian sailor. At the gate mark, the Dane and the American split. The American wanted to see if he could get on top of the Dane. But the Dane Erik Havemann defended his position and ended up winning the race. Race 3, Boys Red Group. Current and the wind conditions mixed with the aggressive starts created yet again false starts and a black flag. But this start was the first of today where the most of the fleet started heading towards the left side of the racecourse to find a good position in the middle of the racecourse when they were going upwind. And it looks like two Italians found their way towards the top mark by taking the right decisions of tacking and keeping themselves in the middle. After rounding the top mark, the fleet started to spread out to find the best possible wind. The Italian sailor Gabriele Vitti and Arthur Brighenti did a great downwind job and rounded the gate mark first, placing themselves in the middle upwind, protecting their position from the rest of the fleet. But at the finish line, 4 boats arrived within 10 seconds. Race 4, Boys Red Group. A huge right shift on the race course had the impact of the race. At the start, the fleet split, and for some time it looked like it was the right-hand side that was going to pay out. But it was an Italian coming from the middle, ending up rounding the top mark first, closely followed by a Greek and a Swedish sailor. Downwind towards the gate mark, the 3 sailors got company by a French sailor, Simon Pro, who managed to take 14 meters on the leaders. The 4 boats split at the gate mark and started 2 small match races upwind towards the finish line. A fight that slowed them down and invited 2 Italians into top 3. The Greek defended his lead and won the race. What a day on the water, and what some great fighters out there. Shifty conditions, and also the Bay of Sønderborg is putting some surprises in the bay, and I have to say, and the beach of the bay. There was a very light wind, but out on the water it was very shifty. We almost hit 15 knots of wind speed today. But with all that said, remember, go to the social medias, share everything. There's so many pictures, so many videos. They're free of download, free of sharing. Please feel free. And with that said, see you tomorrow night. Have fun. And by the way, 2 last races tomorrow will decide who goes into the Golden Fleet. My name was